Good afternoon, everyone. To those who have attended previous webinars, welcome back, and I trust that you're finding the information provided to be helpful. For newcomers, welcome, and thank you all for joining us for this webinar. In today's webinar, we will demonstrate the LEAP and LawToolBox integration. Together, LEAP and LawToolBox provide law firms with the powerful system that they need in place for automating and managing their timelines and deadlines and reducing the risk of malpractice. We will cover how to activate the integration, how to add case deadlines to existing matters, how to set a specific time on an event generated by LawToolBox, and how to invite additional attendees to events generated by LawToolBox. After demonstrating the integration, we will chat with LawToolBox Partner Channel Manager Ben Koeneker to learn more about LawToolBox and how this powerful system can benefit LEAP clients with busy litigation practices. As with all of our educational webinars, this session will run for approximately 20 minutes and will be conducted in listen-only mode. You will be able to listen only via computer audio. Phone audio is not available for this webinar. Feel free to type any questions into the GoToWebinar question feature throughout the duration of today's session. Any questions not answered during the webinar will be addressed directly with you via email. Please note that all our webinars are recorded and will be available to you on the LEAP Help Center page. As a reminder, you can click on the blue question mark in the top right corner of any LEAP window to go to the LEAP Help Center. If you haven't yet visited the LEAP Help Center site, be sure to check it out. We have various articles to assist you with LEAP's tools and features. Please note that we have additional webinars available on the LEAP Help Center. However, if you require more advanced or additional training, please contact the LEAP Practice Management Advisors team directly at pma@leap.us. The first step in setting up LawToolBox is enabling the integration. From the matter list, click the menu button and select the App Marketplace. Type LawToolBox into the search bar and click to select. On the LawToolBox app page, click Enable. After clicking Enable, open a matter, navigate to the Calendar and Tasks tab, and click the LawToolBox button. If this is your first time using the integration, you will be prompted to allow permissions, to confirm primary contact details, and to accept LawToolBox terms and conditions. You may also be prompted to sign into LEAP once more to authenticate the integration. Follow prompts as required. Once authenticated, LawToolBox will be accessible as its own button on the Calendar and Tasks tab of every matter in LEAP. To use LawToolBox, open a matter, navigate to Calendar and Tasks, and click the LawToolBox button. From this screen, you will choose the relevant court deadlines for the matter in 2 steps. First, choose the relevant toolset. Courts handle a variety of matter types, which can involve different sets of relevant dates and deadlines and associated toolsets. Dates and deadlines will also differ between different courts and between different jurisdictions. Available toolsets are dependent on the state in which the matter is located, and the picker will only display toolsets that are potentially relevant based on the location of the matter. Choose the toolset for the court and the jurisdiction where your matter is being handled. Next, select a trigger. In this context, a trigger is a filing or other case event upon which dependent deadlines will be based. A trigger can be forward-looking. For instance, the events that spring from the filing and service of a summons and complaint. Or they can be backwards-looking. For instance, pretrial conference dates that would only be set once a trial date is determined by the court. Depending on where you are in your case or how your case is progressing, your triggering event will be different. From the pick list, select a relevant trigger. For example, possible triggers include the date of service of summons, date of service of discovery demands, the trial date, and the like. Note that for some triggers, you will be prompted to select a method of service of process, as the service method can impact resultant deadlines. Also note that some triggers, marked with asterisks, are reusable and require entry of a hearing note to differentiate between uses of the same toolset. For example, a typical litigated matter has many different motions filed, so toolsets relating to filing, responding to, and appearing at hearings on motions can be used many times over in a single matter. When the field appears, entering a hearing note is mandatory, and you cannot progress to retrieving deadlines without completing this field. After selecting the trigger, a date field will appear for you to enter the date of the triggering event. A notification will then appear, informing you of how many deadlines are associated with your trigger. Click Get Deadlines to review. LawToolBox will use the triggering event and date to calculate the related deadlines. From the list, toggle which dates to add to your LEAP and Outlook calendars. When you're happy with your selection, click Add Deadlines. Once the deadlines have been successfully added, a confirmation dialog will appear and the LawToolBox window can be closed. Returning to the Calendar and Tasks tab of the matter, note that the LawToolBox dates have been added to the critical dates and calendar items. Toggling from LEAP to the Outlook calendar, also note that the LawToolBox dates have automatically synced to the initiating user's Outlook calendar. Court dates and deadlines pulled by LawToolBox are automatically added to the initiating user's Outlook calendar as all-day events. Setting a specific time and adding additional parties to LawToolBox events is simple and relies on basic Outlook functions. To set a time on a LawToolBox item, locate the relevant event in Outlook and double-click to open. Next to the Start and End Time fields, uncheck the All Day box and add custom start and end times in the corresponding fields. Optionally, you may enter a location for the event in the Location field. To add people to a LawToolBox deadline in Outlook, click the Invite Attendees button and enter the email addresses for people to be added to the event. Added attendees will receive a notification, which they can then accept to add the event to their own Outlook calendars. This is useful, for example, when a firm administrator is calendaring events for attorneys and needs to invite individual attorneys to different events. Another common use case is for the initiating user to invite a firm's shared calendar in order to keep a master list of all deadlines and appearances. One of the greatest benefits of using LawToolBox with LEAP is the two-way sync between the LEAP and Outlook calendars. Simply stated, you can edit and make changes to LawToolBox events in whichever system is more convenient, LEAP or Outlook, and changes will automatically carry over to the other system. For example, if an event's date needs to be changed, users are free to make that change on the Outlook calendar item or on the LEAP calendar item. and the changes will automatically flow through to the other system. Because LEAP, LawToolBox, and Microsoft 365 have a 100% synchronization, changes move freely back and forth between LEAP, LawToolBox, and Outlook so that you and everyone else in your law firm handling the case stay current during even the most high-paced litigated matters. As we've just seen in the demonstration, the LEAP and LawToolBox integration helps busy attorneys stay on top of their deadlines, their court appearances, and other time-sensitive items that arise when handling administrative or litigation matters. When deployed in combination with a legal practice productivity system like LEAP, using LawToolBox will naturally result in increased attention given to each file and its deadlines. Together, LEAP, LawToolBox, and Microsoft 365 provide law firms with the powerful system that they need for automating and managing their deadlines. This allows attorneys to practice with confidence while experiencing less risk of malpractice liability. According to LawToolBox, managing deadlines is mission critical for legal professionals, not only because it will help them navigate through procedure quickly, but also because it reduces the risk of missed deadlines, which are the single biggest source of malpractice claims by clients against their attorneys. To learn more about LawToolBox, we are now going to have a conversation with LawToolBox Partner Channel Manager Ben Koeneker about all of the work that the LawToolBox team does to make sure LEAP clients stay on top of their most important deadlines. Good morning, Ben. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Good morning, Cy. It's a pleasure to be here.
To get started, we'd love to learn a little bit more about the history of LawToolBox. Can you please tell us more about when LawToolBox was started and why? What problem was LawToolBox trying to solve?
Well, Cy, we date all the way back to 1998 when we were a born-in-the-cloud web app solution. We were a cloud before cloud was cool. Our main goal then and now has always been to help law firms automate deadlines and avoid missing them. LawToolBox helps to support the correct process flow of a matter for any firm that deals with deadlines in either administrative or litigation matters.
That's very interesting. For law firms who are considering activating the LEAP and LawToolBox integration, what are some of the key identifiers that are going to help them know that they're going to benefit from using LawToolBox with LEAP?
Well, I think a LEAP associate can really help guide this review for a firm. But key questions like, are we manually calculating deadlines as a firm? How do we mitigate the human error aspect or protect against loss of experiential expertise through turnover? If we use a checklist to track deadlines, then how is that maintained and how much time does that take away from our staff on a daily or weekly basis? I think that merely looking into LawToolBox solution can often expose inefficiencies that principals of a firm didn't even realize they were having and didn't know they were having such a large impact on productivity and accuracy in managing deadlines.
That makes sense. Sounds like law firms can really cut down on their manual processes and automate some very important aspects of their practices. Can you give us some examples of how firms needed to handle calendaring their deadlines before LawToolBox and how using LawToolBox now simplifies that process for them?
It's a great question, Cy. Before using LawToolBox, the process for firms is very manual. Take calendaring for an upcoming trial, for instance, in, let's say, California. There can be anywhere from 60 to 120 deadlines, depending upon the county, that are being manually created, entered, calculated, and researched for the responsible attorney to make sure that they are applicable. The probability for human error is staggering. And remember, it only takes missing one applicable deadline to be guilty of malpractice. Many firms try to combat this by creating deadline templates, but those have to be checked for errors and changes each time they are used. and still create a lot of copy and paste work into the calendar. By the way, that further expands the probability for human error as the staff becomes reliant and complacent on following a template and forget to check for updates. LawToolBox automates the entire flow of deadlines, calculations, updates. These happen daily with our rules attorneys, by the way, and research. All of the deadlines now flow from the date of trial as a trigger date. So moving a trial, which happens all the time, is as simple as recalculating the date of trial, which flows down to the dependent deadlines and provides all of those new dates as well. We also include reference links in the full deadline descriptions so that staff and attorneys can be certain that a particular rule applies and that the calculation of the deadline is correct. We remove complexity and reduce the workload without creating complacency, which can lead to human error. Calculations that would have taken the entire day are now reduced to minutes, and the risks associated with accuracy are nearly eliminated.
Wow, that definitely helps law firms ease the administrative burden of litigation. Keeping on top of the rules in such a wide array of courts and jurisdictions seems like it could be a daunting challenge. Can you please tell us about the LawToolBox team and how they work to ensure that the deadline data pulled by LawToolBox is both accurate and reliable?
Well, our rules team is at the core of driving the living accuracy of rules and related deadlines. Our team of rules attorneys is strictly focused on the building and auditing of rule sets throughout the country and has experience in a wide range of administrative, litigation, and other deadline-driven areas of practice to ensure accurate builds. Audits of these rule sets are a part of the publishing process. These rule sets also undergo routine maintenance to make sure that there's ongoing accuracy and functionality.
That's very interesting and very reassuring that there's a team of legal experts behind all of this. What about updates? How does the LawToolBox team find out about updates or changes to a particular court's rules? And then how would those changes be carried through into the LawToolBox system?
Well, our team of rules-focused attorneys performs these daily version change monitorings, as well as regular audits of existing rule sets. So when a change occurs, which potentially affects an existing calendar deadline, LEAP users are presented with a notification in the correspondence tab of the matter within LEAP. The firm then has the option of applying the change or not, as the individual case requires. This dynamic approach informs and educates firms when changes in rules affect deadlines that they have used and may use again in the future.
That sounds like maintaining the rule sets is a lot of work, and I'll reiterate that it's really great to know that LawToolBox has a team of highly qualified legal experts in place to make sure that our clients can rely on the data. What about support? Where should a LEAP client go if they need assistance using LawToolBox or if they want to provide feedback about their local rule sets?
Well, we have an excellent support team that can be engaged through our ticketing system. LEAP provides the LawToolBox support link in an FAQ, which is provided to their users, and users can also navigate directly to lawtoolbox.com/support. Once a ticket is opened, a brief set of questions helps direct the customer towards the correct experts within our organization. These experts could either be focused on deadline-related questions or those of a more technical nature.
Thank you. That's great to know that help for our clients and a place to send their feedback is just a click away. One final question. Can you share anything about the future of LawToolBox with us? Are there any new features in the works for the LEAP and LawToolBox integration that we can share with our clients on today's webinar?
Well, as a cloud-based company, we're building out new features all the time. But I think the most relevant additions are in the new rule sets being added. Everything from appellate court rules to probate and arbitration rule sets are some of the current and recent addition projects. The great thing about LawToolBox is that we are constantly in build and development mode. But further than that, We've invested in a great partnership with LEAP, who is also very much in a development mindset. I expect to see even more functionality in the near future, so stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of that information, Ben. It's really exciting to see what our clients can do for their deadline management using the LEAP and LawToolBox integration. We appreciate the partnership with LawToolBox, and we appreciate you for being with us on today's webinar.
Thank you, Sai.
Have a great day. If your firm would like to activate LawToolBox and begin taking advantage of this exciting integration, contact your LEAP Practice Management Advisor or email pma@leap.us to request assistance with getting up and running. More information on LEAP and LawToolBox is available at leap.us/LawToolBox. Thank you again for attending today's webinar. Have a great day.